of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. What do we do now?
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
Refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. I don't know where everybody is. I guess I'm going to sit here by myself for a few minutes. Go through a few things that I found fairly interesting today. This is a Monday news segment. We're not sitting around, messing around, joking around. Well, maybe we are. There seems to be quite a few people in this world that think their shit is what it is and it don't stink. It's too bad that their stuff just stinks just as much as anybody else's. So, this lady here, I really seriously, she needs to be brought up on charges of some sort. I don't know what, how, or where, but she needs to stop. Everything that she pushes is just gross and ridiculous.
I want people to have the lives they want, but I don't want to force anybody. I don't want anybody coming in my house telling me how to raise my daughter and what she needs because they don't know. I appreciate everybody's religion, but I do not subscribe to your religion. I don't ask you to subscribe to mine, and
yours, and I don't ask you to actually go and project yours either. Keep it to yourself. There's no reason that you need to actually be out there and actually doing this. No reason at all. She needs to be removed from this panel and never be allowed on TV ever again.
You do not have the right, based on your religious beliefs, to tell me, because what's next, as Clarence Thomas is signaling, they would like to get rid of contraception. Do you understand?
Which I don't believe that's true. I believe that he said something opposite or totally different from that. I don't see that actually being something that's actually going to happen. I really don't.
Stand, sir? No, because you don't have to use it.
But that's crazy.
They don't have to use it.
Everything's
on the menu now. Contraception's on the menu. Gay marriage is now probably going to be overturned. Affirmative action is
we
no
were
more.
not in the Constitution either.
Well,
we were not even people.
He is saying.
Well, that's straight bold-faced lie as well. She can go and she can sit there and spew her nastiness all she wants. But when it comes down to it, it's not the truth.
Nothing is precedent anymore.
Well, you better hope that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife.
Oh. Is that a threat? Is that a threat? I think it is. It seems to me like that's a straight-up threat.
Wife, because they will move that. And you better hope that nobody says, well, you're not in the Constitution, you're back to being a quarter of a person.
To the fifth.
Nobody ever said anybody was a quarter of a person. Her ignorance is beyond stupid. I'm so sick of this whole panel. They're all stupid. Look, what's the glasses I said? Did you get punched?
Because that's not going to work either. We'll be right back.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
Sorry. I just ranted about a bunch of lies, and I'm going to sit here on my big rump and assume that my lies are going to fly. I'm so sick of this lady. This lady is so stupid, pointless, and out of control. Remove her. Remove the show. Just stop with the ignorance. Stop with the bullshit. She really pisses me off. So it's from one idiot to the next. Hey, Amy. Friends, it's just me. You can, say anything you'd like in that chat, and I'll totally talk to you. This one. So this lady is also doing the same crap. Breaking news. Rosie O'Donnell has announced she's going on a sex strike. Who in the right world is going to actually do anything with that? Come on. Go ahead. Strike all you want. Because anything that you... Please do. Don't do anything. Don't try procreating. Because anything that you actually produce is going to be just as much as shit as you've ever produced in your whole life. I really don't know. It's usually at least AmericaShirts. He seems to be running a few minutes late. It looks like the expert is still running his show. A lot of people end up swinging over from there. Hey, Purple. Hey, Divinity. Thought there was a video of what she says, but apparently I didn't catch the video. Apparently I cut. But, going on a sex strike, all these people that decide to actually go on a sex strike are ridiculously stupid. Nobody's in their right mind wanting to do anything with anybody that looks like that. Ever. Period. Rosie O'Donnell, go ahead. Go on a sex strike. Please don't ever do anything. Hey, Level. 6 Up Media Live. Hello. Hey, Frankie. Yeah, hey, Jamie. I really don't know how many... Oh, okay. Diminity's mod. Jamie's a mod. Hey, Jamie. We actually have a couple mods in there. Hey, yeah. Everybody, while you're in here, don't forget to actually hit the like button for me. If you haven't already, subscribe. Share it out. Let everybody know that I'm actually live. And we're talking about ugliness like this. Saying that she's going to go on a sex strike. I was really hoping AmericaShirts was going to be here already. I really don't know where he is or what's holding him up. Let's see here. Like I said, from one idiot to the next. So then you got this lady. It says, watch Kamala Harris's first interview after Roe is overturned. This is a 10-minute video.
Vice President, thank you so much for having me here. You were on a plane when the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. As the highest-ranking woman ever elected in U.S. history, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Well, so I was on Air Force Two, heading to Aurora, Illinois, to talk about maternal health. We were with Lauren Underwood, with the chair of Judiciary, Dick Durbin, Senate Judiciary. We were headed there to unveil a plan based on the work we've been doing to ensure that
Amy,
women
that wouldn't be the first person to
receive
tell
the
me
kind
that.
of support they need during and post-pregnancy. And, we thought that...
Oh, look at that. It's Imposter Shirts. How's it going, man?
Yo.
So, we went through a few things already. Went through Whoopi Goldberg being unhinged on the show. Did you catch that?
No.
No, you didn't catch that? Okay, so...
what's there not to know about that? She's
right. She's just...
I mean...
she's just being stupid like she always has. And, I just really despise the lady. I despise the show. I think the show should
Is
just
she
be wiped
actually
off.
a lady, or has she, transmorphed into, some weird, fatty, morphous blob? something. It's weird.
Here, I'll show you what she looks like here real quick. Let's see if we can pull her back up real quick. Because what she actually says is really kind of disturbing. And if you hadn't caught what she had said, you really should hear what she has to say.
I want people to have the lives they want, but I don't want to force anybody. I don't want anybody coming in my house telling me how to raise my daughter and what she needs, because they don't know. I appreciate everybody's religion, but I do not subscribe to your religion. I don't ask you to subscribe to mine, and you do not have the right based on your religion.
Who's prescribing somebody to go to somebody else's religion?
Well, I mean, they are. They want us all to conform to Satanism
They are.
and sacrifice all our kids. You know?
They are, not us.
Exactly.
We're not sitting there trying to tell you, oh, you need to actually go and you need to follow, what we actually say, and you need to, read a Bible, and you need to go to, Christian church every night, whatever. And nobody says that. Yeah, her real name is Karen.
Religious beliefs to tell me, because what's next, as Clarence Thomas is signaling, they would like to get rid of contraception. Do you understand, sir? No, because you don't have to use it.
But that's crazy.
They don't have to use it.
Everything's on the menu now. Contraception's on the menu. Gay marriage is now probably going to be overturned. Affirmative action is
we
no
were
more.
not in the Constitution either.
Well,
we were
Who wasn't in the Constitution?
not even people
He is
in the
saying
Constitution.
nothing is precedent anymore.
Well, you better hope that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife.
2/3, and that was only because that was all that they could get at the time, because of some of the framers that were there also owned slaves, and they didn't want, because they were representatives of those southern states, and in order to get the entire union, they had to come up with a compromise, and it was called the 2/3 compromise, because, well, they could get them 2/3 of a vote, and then eventually they could get them to be completely full. Like, they literally talked about this. They wrote down letters and talked about moving that.
Amy, vice versa, I tell my mom to go to church on a regular basis.
And, of course,
Who
Clarence
happens to
Thomas
be
knows
white.
this. So, you can screw off Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, she's just a blob that's sitting there spewing
To
her
your
crap.
wife, who happens to be white, because they will move that, and you better hope that nobody says.
So now we're going to diss
Constitution,
interracial marriages. That's great.
Yes, because they just assume that because one thing got taken out, Roe v. Wade stuff or whatever, that they're going to actually go ahead and they're going to start removing all this other things like contraception and gay marriage and interracial marriage.
Well, I hate to break it to everybody, but there's no constitutional right to any of those things. The Supreme Court should have never ruled on any of those things. If your state wants to do that, your state can make a law that's called a
Roe v.
federal
Wade.
government system.
Not
Yes,
in the
including that.
Constitution. Not in the Constitution at all, period.
See, this is them trying to force the entire nation underneath their rule. That's called tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. If your state doesn't want to recognize homosexual marriage, it doesn't have to. That's called federal system of government.
Janie, the last thing I remember this lady being funny in was like movies back in the day. Never once did I think she was funny when she actually decided to pick up a show and try running some ridiculous talk show on TV. Because dang well she isn't saying what she wants to say. She's saying what somebody's writing down for her to say. Because why? She's an actor. Yeah, Janie.
Aren't they all?
Ever. Yeah, I agree, Divinity. Why does the state have any say either way, gay or not? That's lame.
We're back to being a quarter person, because that's not going to work either. We'll be right back.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
And that's pretty much what so she goes and she slams Clarence Thomas and says, you better watch out because, it's going to come around and it's going to bite you in the ass. And no, it's not, because ain't nobody going to actually go around and say, oh, no, we're going to take gay marriage out of the Constitution. Because it's not there. So let's see. What did we do next? We went.
Never was.
Oh.
Even normal individuals do not have the right to marriage under the Constitution. It's not a right type of thing. It's a thing that people do. And if your local or state government wants to somehow regulate or pass a law under the Constitution,
don't want to burn out
they
your
could.
retinas, close your eyes for a quick moment. I'm going to quick flash this person up on the screen for AmericaShirts so he knows who we're talking about. Sex strike, Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell's announced that she's going on a sex strike because of the
Oh my God.
Look at that. Who in the right mind is going to do anything with that?
Only Rosie O'Donnell. Only Rosie. Only Rosie. As Trump would say.
As Trump would say, you're right.
I mean, again, there's a reason why Trump always would bash this woman in particular. And, not really, because
he wouldn't bash
he
anybody
knows,
else. It's just her. Every
Only
single time
Rosie.
he says, only Rosie. She looks like that one lady who yelled at us a couple of nights ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one of those.
One of those.
Okay, so then the next one is going to be this, what you walked in on. And it was, there's a 10-minute speech that she actually gives. There's a little part in it that's actually a little bit more relevant than the rest of it, but I found the 10-minute clip just as horrible as the 2-minute clip. So I figured, let's watch the 10-minute clip.
And thank you so much for having me here. You were on a plane when the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. As the highest-ranking woman ever elected in U.S. history, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Well, so I was on Air Force Two, heading to Aurora, Illinois, to talk about maternal health. We were with Lauren Underwood, with the chair of Judiciary, Dick Durbin, Senate Judiciary. We were headed there to unveil a plan based on the work we've been doing to ensure that women receive the kind of support they need during and post-pregnancy. And, we thought that the decision would come down sometime soon, but not at that moment. And I was shocked. And
Tell us what she says. No, Koolfrogg, I'm about to die. What do you want me to do? Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to transcribe her stuff and actually read it out the next time I played anything with this lady in it.
That face right there is just perfect.
I'm going to leave myself a note.
That face.
So I don't forget.
That face just says everything right there. Right there. That's just, just that looking off into the distance like, what the hell am I really doing here? I don't know. I don't know what is happening at this point. I'm just that clueless. I don't know. That's the point, right? It's like, what the hell? What the hell am I doing? Like, I don't understand. What is this? Who are you? I don't get it. But I'm just going to crack up and laugh anyway.
So when you actually talk to people that are actually whatever body language experts, and they say when somebody looks to the side, they're thinking of what to say next, or they're coming up with what to say next. I don't know. I don't remember all of it, but I'm sure there's a reason that somebody would look at this and be like, oh, this is what she's actually doing.
it's one thing when you know something's going to happen. It's another thing when it actually happens.
Sorry, Divinity. Next time.
And I just actually turned to CNN, and I couldn't believe it. Because they actually did it. And here's what they did. The court actually took a constitutional right that has been recognized for half a century.
A constitutional right? Which one? Which one was the constitutional right that they took away?
Yes, point to the...
Can you pull up the Constitution? Can you point to it for us?
Thou shalt not infringe on the right to kill thine children.
Kumala.
Is that Arabic, Divinity? Is Kamala Arabic now on top of being Indian and black and Native American and like God knows what the hell?
Jamaican. Yeah, Jamaican.
Oh yeah, Jamaican. I love it. She's black and she's Jamaican, like all at once. Like she's black American and Jamaican all at once, and Indian, and Canadian and American, and just everything, because she just is.
Okay, so she is black because that's the tone of her skin. She's not African American. She did not come from Africa. Like you said, Jamaica, Indian Jamaican. Yes, she is black, but no, she is not African American. Ever. Period.
And took it from the women of America. That's shocking.
How dare you assume people's genders to get abortion?
That means
You disgusting bigot.
democratic principles, in terms of the ideals upon which we were founded, about liberty, about freedom. I thought about it as, a parent. We have 2 children who are in their 20s, a son and a daughter. I thought about it as a godparent of teenagers. I thought of it as an aunt of
Oh my God. This whole part right here is just, she's like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. Oh my freaking Lord. And then she doesn't say what the one that she's supposed to say, so then she gets corrected by the news reporter. It's
teenagers. Funny. I thought of it as an aunt of preschool children.
And a woman yourself.
And a woman myself. And the daughter of a woman.
How dare you assume your own gender? Bigot.
And, my husband and I are actually talking about it. We have a 23-year-old, and my mother-in-law's in her 80s.
Who's the 23-year-old's kid?
Our daughter.
Not yours?
Will not know the rights for the amount of time that my mother-in-law knew these rights, which is the right that should be well settled, that a woman should have to make.
Yep, exactly, Hopper. We've covered this several times in several different episodes of her not being African. She is Jamaican, Indian, and yes, her father did have. It wasn't her father. It was her great-grandfather that had held slaves in Jamaica.
Decisions about her own body. And
Bill Gates stabbies, Bill Gates jabbies. Every woman is mandated underneath what Biden wants. Hello.
Do think about what this means for the life of your son.
Women in hospitals that are nurses don't get to choose whether or not to keep their job or not because they get to get stabbed with a, you know what? Yay.
In the context of the fact that they.
Let's just keep going, folks. Nothing to see here.
Not at all. Nothing. 0 things.
For the life of your
We
son.
have the right to, kill your children, but you don't have the right to decide what medical treatments you like.
Thumbnail for tonight's episode?
Oh yeah, it's 0 cents.
Yes,
that's going to be
0
the new
cents.
American currency. Actually, it's going to be 0 cents.
0 cents.
And what that will mean in terms of the choices he will have. Do think about it in the context of the fact that they wrote this decision, including concurring opinions, that suggest that other rights, such as the freedom
Oh my gosh,
to make
Divinity,
decisions
please,
about
just
when you were
keep
gonna start a
going.
family.
Tell us the truth, Divinity. How do you really feel about her?
The freedom and the right to make decisions about contraception, IUDs, what this is going to mean in terms of in vitro fertilization.
Well, let me ask you about that, because Justice Thomas, this is what you're referring to, did write a concurring opinion saying the court should reconsider other cases of precedent that protect same-sex marriage, contraception, intimacy, and more. Do you think that the Supreme Court is on a path to reverse those as well?
I definitely believe this is not over. I do. I
We'll
think
find
he
out
just
in
said the
October.
quiet part out loud. And I think that is why we all must
'Cause that's when
really
the next session
understand
comes,
the
is October.
significance of what just happened. This is profound. And the way that this decision has come down has
Hello, Lady
been
Diva.
so driven, I think, by the politics of the issue versus what should be the values that we place on
It was
on
always
freedom
political.
and
That's why it
liberty
went
in
to
our
the court in the
country.
first place, and that's why the court
Right? The
made
right
Roe
to
versus Wade
privacy.
decision in the first place, because it was
Let's think of
that
this in the
Roe versus Wade
context
decision
of
in the 70s was a political decision. It was not a legal one. Hence the overturning of it and the reason and explanation that Judge Alito gave. If you read it, terrible ruling, unconstitutional, outside of the law, purely political.
Hoppers must have
Let's
watched
keep
a couple of
gaslighting.
episodes that we'd put up and knows quite a bit about this person and her idiocies.
How dare you assume her creaturehood? She could be anything. She could be a tree, a lamppost. Like, you don't know.
Oh, we'll get into trees and lampposts later. Hold on.
right to privacy. Let's think of this in the context of the laws that are being passed in states. Dana, in 13 states, by my count, they will not
By the way,
allow a woman
I know lampposts because they're
to
around
have
my house.
access to reproductive
They're smarter than
health
her.
and to an abortion
Just
if
saying.
she is the victim of rape or incest. So let me tell you something.
Right. They only come on when necessary.
Yeah,
As
and
a
they don't
former
crackle and laugh like
prosecutor who
they're batshit, you know.
specialized in crimes of violence against women
Telling
and
you,
girls,
talk
in
to a
particular
lamppost for
child
once.
sexual
You'll be
assault
amazed what you find,
and
you know.
rape.
Be like, wow,
The
not as bad as
idea
Kamala.
that after a woman has endured such violence to her body, that she would not have the freedom and authority to decide whether she wanted
The child
to
didn't
continue
commit
with
the rape. The
pregnancy.
rapist did. You want to put somebody to death? How about you do it to the rapist, not the child? Sorry, I know that might be unpopular, but hey, listen, the child didn't do anything. Why should the child face the punishment for the crime of the abuser that actually made it happen? You want to kill somebody?
Want to
Go
take
after the
care of
rapist.
it. You know what? I get holding it for 9 months and all this other. You know, if there's issues that come up, you go and you talk to your private doctor. I know some of this stuff isn't going to be easy. Some states it's going to be more difficult than others to convince your doctor of wrongdoing and that you're just not in the right state of mind to actually take care of it. But I don't want to yell, but you know, if I need to raise my voice, please let me know.
Don't make me raise my voice at you.
I'll try. Shirt seems loud tonight. That's
Might be the device I'm on.
That's imposter shirts. That's why he's on his other device. Every time he's on his other device, he's super loud.
That as a result of an act of violence is absolutely unthinkable.
So, because you are now the Vice President of the United States, part of an administration that is pledging to fight back, to find ways to protect women's rights to abortion, I want to ask you
Can you keep
some of
moaning
the
there,
things that
Kamala?
are kind of out there that some
Making
of your
noises.
former female senators, Senate colleagues, are asking the administration to do. Will the administration actively challenge state laws that make it a crime for someone to help a woman travel to another state for an abortion?
So the president rightly last week, when the decision came down, indicated quite unambiguously that we will do everything within our power as an administration.
That's
through the
hysterical,
executive
Amy. It
branch to
separates
ensure
people.
That women have access
Your-
to the
your,
medication they need.
Your earbuds.
Which has been,
earbuds
by the
are
way,
racist?
FDA approved, and that they will have freedom of travel, and that travel should be unrestricted.
And you're going to do that through the courts if need be?
I am sure that our Department of Justice is going to do that based on every statement that the Attorney General has made.
Can the administration expand abortion access or abortion services on federal land, meaning provide the access on federal land that might be in and around states that ban abortion?
I think that what is most important right now is that we ensure that the restrictions that the states are trying to put up that would prohibit a woman from exercising what we still maintain is her right, that we do everything we can to empower women to not only seek but to receive the
Federal
care
government
where it is
should not
is
own
federal
land within the
one of
states.
those
That should not be a thing at all. And then again, right here is a prime example of it. Oh, so A state's going to say that they want this to be illegal. Well, we in the federal government want it to be legal. So screw you. We're just going to do it on the land in your state. So haha. Like, that's why that shouldn't exist. Doesn't matter what the issue is. It's tyrannical. So I guess you're just going to have like abortions in the middle of like a national forest or something now?
I will say that when I think about what is happening in terms of the states, we have to also recognize, Dana, that we are 130 odd days away from an election, which is going to include.
If someone tosses you into a sealed crate with a 4-foot-long 2x4 of lumber and a handsaw, how would you escape?
Cry? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Cry until the wood softens up so you can bust through it?
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Sealed crate with a 4-foot-long 2x4 and a handsaw. There has to be some kind of catch or something, some kind of, I don't know.
Senate races, right? Part of the issue here is that the court has acted, now Congress needs to act.
Oh yeah, the military base thing. Yeah, that's a big.
Votes don't appear to have.
That's another sort of states' right issue thing that I have a issue with myself.
130 odd days. I'm taking, for example, thinking of a Senate race in Georgia or North Carolina. There's the Senate race coming up just in a couple weeks in Colorado, and we need to change the balance and have pro-choice legislators who have the power to make decisions about whether this constitutional right will be in law, right?
Have the power!
Put it in law so that there will be no ambiguity about it.
And I want to ask you about
You
that.
just see the lightning shooting out of her hands as she's like moving them, you know. It's like
More
spraying it
questions,
everywhere.
because what I'm hearing, and you probably are too, is what can this Democratic administration do right now with any executive power that the president has?
Yeah.
Can the administration?
Nothing.
Hopper gave us the answer. He says solid 2x4 and 2. 2 makes a hole. Crawl through the hole. Exactly, Divinity. That's what I'm thinking. Palm the forehead.
Mighty Dingoes, I'm actually trying to work that out, lol.
To medication abortion?
I think we're pretty clear that to the extent that we can, we will. There's no question about that, because again, it is FDA approved, and if it is prescribed, that a woman should be able to have access to it unfettered.
And what about the
False.
idea of financial resources?
Not true.
Some form of voucher for travel, childcare services, other forms of support for people, for women seeking abortions in states where it's not legal, but they just don't have the means to go elsewhere.
I think you're asking a very important point, making a very important point, which is what are the details that are going to
She's
go into
asking a very
ensuring
important
that
point,
women
folks.
have the ability
She's asking
to
a
actually,
very important point.
travel without impairment. And we know that on this issue, women who have access to resources will probably be far less impacted by this decision than women who don't have resources. So this is something that we are looking at, because we know, for example,
I know, because
how
women
this is
could be
gonna
beaten on the
actually
road. Pregnant women
impact
will be
real
beaten on the
people.
road by pro-life
Over half
activists
of women who receive abortions in America
on the
are
way to her
mothers.
pilgrimage to the Planned Parenthood
That
facility
means that
to
if they're
sacrifice her
gonna have to
child to
travel,
Moloch.
they've got to find daycare and pay for it. It means that they will, if they are working, which
You know, because that's how that
most
works. You know,
are,
you're pro-life.
they're
You
gonna
want
have
babies
to
to live,
have
so you
time
just
from
beat the
work.
mother to
If they
death.
don't have paid
That's when
leave,
she's
they're
pregnant,
gonna
because
have
that's
to
how that
figure out
works,
to afford
right?
it. It means that they may have to put up money for a train or a bus or a plane, much less a hotel.
Y'all tell me if my
And so
microphone
we want
sounds
to make
better.
sure that there does not result extreme disparities or any disparities based on who can
I
receive
moved it today because it was
care
bugging me from
based
last
on
I mean,
how
it is
much
kind
money
of funny,
they've got.
Divinity, pilgrimage, but I mean, like, that's what it's going to turn into at this point. It's going to be a religious pilgrimage for these people to go and get their abortions at this point now.
Right?
Result extreme disparities or any disparities based on who can receive care based on how much money they've got.
And you heard her talk about the election.
We're not going to go through that. Hopper
Oh,
just says,
Hopper, I
just
believe
looked
you.
up redundant and ignorant, and Kamala's picture showed up beside both.
Because that works. That is the definition. That's the modern day definition.
Oh, like I said, from one nasty to the next.
Nasty.
House Democrats ponder post-Roe response, but filibuster remains an obstacle. Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Democrats are eyeing possible legislation to protect personal data related to reproductive health, as well as the codification of abortion and other rights. She's going to try slamming a whole bunch of shit through.
The right to bear arms is excluded from that.
In the way.
The right to the privacy of your papers and not to have a federal agent quartered in your home through your computer is also left out of that.
I'm trying to figure out what Divinity's saying. Who's she calling a dipshit? Me? Did I miss something? Or was it them? They missed something and they just kind of like,
No, it's you, Koolfrogg. It's totally you.
Yeah, I'll take it. So it says House Democrats are seeking to chart a new path to preserve abortion rights and other protections for women in the aftermath of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. And knowing the long odds that any such legislation faces in the Senate, Speaker Nancy Pelosi sees the road to success through growing other majorities and eliminating the filibuster to enshrine such rights into law. On this day, since the Supreme Court struck down the 1973 ruling making abortion a constitutional right, wrong, the California Democrat is signaling how her party might act in a post-Roe world. After failed attempts for Congress to codify abortion rights into law, even the Democratic majorities, they're looking at a few options to ensure access and privacy. Such legislation could include protections for personal data and reproductive health, apps, as well as ability for people to travel freely and voluntarily throughout the country if the state they live in bans the procedure, and they need to get to a state where it remains legal. Pelosi once again called for the passage of the Women's Health Protection Act to codify Roe into law. That bill passed the House, but has blocked by Senate Republicans last month. Isn't Pelosi hot? Oh, wait a second. Let's go back a little. Nothing is going their way because God used Trump to do just enough. Yeah, she said, no, it's the government, not me. Isn't Pelosi hot for a woman? It's a 182-year-old, right? No. Yeah, I mean, who knows how old she is?
Isn't it like 4,182 years old? I'm pretty sure. I mean, well, yeah, Divinity. For dead, she looks really great. Yeah, for like a dead, already rotted mummy corpse that has been reanimated for the modern day, like, she looks pretty good. I will say that. We'll give her that.
So it threw a bunch of political cartoons in the center of that. This is Pelosi and the House Democrats, however, know the uphill battle any of their legislative responses face. Once they move over to the Senate, the split 50-50 chamber makes it virtually impossible to pass key Democratic priorities since there's not enough of any Republican support.
Yeah, Divinity. She says her eyes freak me out so bad. It's like, yeah, that's what her eyes look like. That, like, if you were to stop at the Last Crusade, if you were to stop image a picture of the guy that took the wrong Holy Grail in the middle of his process of dying, like, that's Nancy Pelosi. She's like right there, like her eyes are like going back into her head, you know. And it is Ricky, I guess, right?
Let's see here. I got something for you. This one. Since we're talking about this lady.
How dare you assume it's gender?
Well, you know, I have the tendency to think that she actually believes that's what she is. So.
Just what I needed. Oh, yeah. This is just what I needed.
Nancy, we're live!
Oh, hello there. Are you the very small percentage of America that's still Republican? Well, there's still time to come over to the fun side. The Democratic Party. Da-da-da-da. We're just a bunch of hip and happy, smiling hard workers over here waiting for all of you with arms wide open.
When the other guy was president, I was so angry all the time. He literally forced me to pay $2 a gallon for gasoline. But now that Joe Biden's president, I can finally pay what gas is worth. $5 a gallon.
Back in 2020, the other guy made me spend $3 for a 2x4. But now that Joe Biden's president, I'm happily paying $7 for a 2x4. Oh, me and Monica are gonna build the most expensive house in the world.
Last year, the other guy forced me to work 40 hours a
Oh my
week.
God.
I was miserable. But now that Joe Biden's president, I get free money every month so I can watch TV and sleep on the couch all day. I'm never going back to work.
You know, finally, we have a president. We have a president who's courageous enough to expose the rich, old, powerful white people who were born into privilege. And that same amazing president is allowing all of those rich, old, powerful white people to keep their jobs.
When the other guy was president, I thought for sure I'd be going to jail. But now that Joe Biden is president, I've been staying at the Standard Hotel every weekend. More pasta and hot dogs, please.
We were terrified about losing our business when the other guy was president. But now that Joe Biden is president, we're not afraid anymore. It's business as usual.
When the other guy was president, I would have to like smoke Parmesan cheese to get high. But now that my dad is president, I'm smoking the real stuff.
Now that Joe Biden is president, I don't have to delete my emails anymore. And the other guy can't put me in jail. Victory is mine!
Stuff
I
behind
was
her.
so nervous when the other guy was president. I was convinced I was going to go to prison for my spy
Eric
girlfriend.
swallows well, ladies and
I got
gentlemen.
so nervous,
Accurate
I
representation.
would even fart on live TV. But now that Joe Biden is president, me and my spy girlfriend are finally getting married. Ever since that racist madman, sexist pig, corrupt motherfucker left the White House, I haven't heard our new president, Joe Biden, say Obamagate one time. Yeah, Joe is doing a great job. You see, America is turning out to be a pretty cool place. And it's all because of Democrats. Join us today. Oh, yeah.
So,
oh my God.
That's the United Spot. Everybody should check out
Yes,
the United
please subscribe
Spot.
to
They
that.
do have
Holy shit.
270K. Subscribe to the United Spot. Their stuff is hilarious.
Oh, so like, please tell me you just watched this.
Oh my Lord. I had to. Seriously, I seen that earlier and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be such a fun night. This is great.
All 100% accurate, by the way.
I don't think there was anything left inside that article that was worth reading other than maybe a couple quotes. There's a quote that says, "It is clear from how Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell stacked the Supreme Court that elections have ramifications. It is essential that we protect and expand our pro-choice majorities in the House and Senate in November so that we can eliminate the filibusters so that we can restore women's fundamental rights and freedom for every American." Again, this is all Nancy Pelosi. In this disturbing concurrence, Justice Clarence Thomas confirmed many of our deepest fears about where this decision may lead, taking aim at additional long-standing precedent and cherished privacy rights from the access to contraception and in vitro fertilization.
Oh, the article's not up, by the way, Koolfrogg.
I know. That's why I said there's a couple paragraphs that were left or whatever. So legislation is being introduced to further codify freedoms with Americans currently enjoy. So her words are just as ridiculous as anybody else's on that side of the aisle. I mean, really, they're just so disturbing.
I believe the word is redunculous.
Sure. For lack of a better word, that would probably be the good one. So then, it is Monday news, so we're going to kind of jump around a little bit with our news. We got some fun, interesting things going on. So, more than 1 million voters switched to GOP and warning for Dems. Oh, really? More than 1 million?
You mean that Democrat Party advertisement that was just put up here that we just watched? You mean that wasn't enough to persuade people? God.
Nope. So it says tens of thousands.
I mean, hey, I'm convinced, folks. You know what I mean.
Right. Suburban swing voters who helped fuel the Democratic Party's gains of recent years are suddenly becoming Republicans. Overall, more than 1 million voters across 43 states have switched to Republican Party over the last year. I'm one of them. Y'all can raise your hand if you're one of them too, and give yourself a pat on the back. They include both former Democrats and those previously unaffiliated with either major party. The phenomenon is playing out in virtually every region of the country. Red states, blue states, cities, and small towns. In the months since President Joe Biden replaced former President Donald Trump. And that's the truth right there. There's so many people that are standing up, opening their eyes, seeing what's in front of them, and changing the way they feel about things. Now, you don't have to always feel the same thing about all the things that they like to lump on one side or the other. You have right to actually have your own feelings. But so many people are seeing how far the Democratic Party has gone into communism that they're like, nope, not there anymore. I'm going to go over to the other side.
Welcome to the New World Order. Allegedly.
Like, go to look over and it's like the whole room is full of mods. Hopper, do you want a wrench? Is that what you're getting at? I'll give you one if you want one. So, some international news for you. Let's see if you can't make this a little bit bigger. The U.S. and its allies are scrambling to respond to China's intensifying moves in the heart of the Pacific. I don't know why this actually has to be there, but it says children fish in the polluted beach of central Hanoi. In the 5 months since one of President Joe Biden's top advisors warned the Pacific was likely where the U.S. could see a strategic surprise from China, Beijing has stepped up its overtures to the small but important islands of the region, prompting the U.S. and its allies to scramble in response to growing Chinese influence. Kurt Campbell, the coordinator of Indo-Pacific in the National Security Council, told a think tank audience in January that such a surprise consisting of basing or certain kinds of agreements or arrangements was a top concern over the next year or two. That concern is given form in late March when the leak of a draft security cooperation agreement between China and the Solomon Islands, which said the Solomons could ask China to send police and military personnel to assist in maintaining social order, and that China could, with permission, make a ship visit and send relevant forces to protect Chinese interests, potentially giving China's military a toehold in the South Pacific. Oh, nothing to see here, folks. Nothing. China's our friends. In the Solomons, the news prompted fear that Prime Minister, whatever this guy's name is, I can't read it. I can't. I don't even want to try. Could call on Chinese forces to repress future protests against his government. Neighboring countries, including Australia, criticized the deal as a threat to the region's governance and security. U.S. defense and diplomatic officials cautioned the deal's broad nature could lead to deployments of Chinese forces and set a concerning precedent for the region. This guy, who called for the backlash after insulting, said in April 20, 2 days after the Biden administration announced a trip by Campbell and other officials to the region, that he had signed the deal and done so guided by our national interests. The final text has not been released, but this guy and the Chinese officials deny it and will lead to a Chinese military base. Yes, I gave him a gender. The White House said there had been substantial discussion of the deal while U.S. officials were in Hanoi, and that if there were moves toward a permanent military presence or power projection capabilities of the Solomons and U.S., would then have significant concerns and respond accordingly. China has security-related agreements with the Pacific Island countries largely focused on law enforcement. Australia and New Zealand have similar relationships, but the deal with the Solomon Islands is seen as broader in scope and as coming at the time of higher geopolitical tension. In the weeks after Solomon's deal has signed, China's outreach appear to intensify, with reports that it is pursuing a similar deal with Kiribati and its proposal of a sweeping deal in 10 Pacific countries: the Solomons, Kiribati, Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, and the Cook Islands.
Okay, just for context, can you pull up like a Google Earth or a map of these? I would if I was on my other device here.
Sure. Let's see if I can't. It says Nui and the Federated States of Micronesia. Let me take a quick glance and see if I can't pull up a There you go. So you can see the area considered Micronesia with all the islands that are inside there. There's Guam, the Mariana Islands, the Federated States of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, Kiribati, all the way down through here. There's French Polynesia. There's the Cook Islands, Niue, America Samoa. All these islands were all pretty much listed. So you can kind of get it, for instance, on where they're actually talking about.
And if you look, that's like a direct line from China, southern China, like right on down through the Pacific region there. They set up bases all along there. They could take like all Pacific trade. Just shoot off a rocket if they didn't like you and just bomb your ship. And again, there's Hawaii right up in the center.
You can see Hawaii's
and
right
it would be
there.
surrounding.
Right.
As well as blocking off Australia and New Zealand from possible trade from different areas too.
Hey, look, there's the country that doesn't exist. Australia. But right, so you see that there's,
Australasia? Who the hell calls Australia and New Zealand Australasia? What the hell is this map? It's Oceania.
This is Wikipedia. Grain of salt, people. Always take a grain of salt with Wikipedia.
Melanesia?
No
Oh, I've heard of that.
Who actually
Oh,
decided to
it's
draw
not
this up?
continents. It's not continents. It's groups of islands. Okay, never mind.
Oh, sure. Let's see, where was I? I'm just going to read this while that stays up. I'm not going to go back and forth. If somebody really wants me to pull it back up, I'll do so. Oh, yes, thanks for reminding me. Muted and lecture. Okay. I'm not sure. I think our chat is actually talking to each other. It's awesome. A draft of proposal was circulated prior to a trip to the region by the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in late May. It proposed a strengthened exchange and cooperation in the fields of traditional and non-traditional security, to expand law enforcement cooperation, and to cooperate with cybersecurity and smart technology. Leaders were wary before and after discussing their meetings with Wang. In May 21 regional leaders, Micronesian President David Pinello called it the single most game-changing proposed agreement in the Pacific in any of our lifetimes, and demonstrative of China's initiation to shift Pacific allegiances in their direction.
Yes, K-Hopper. The devil lives in Tasmania, not in Davos, beside Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. That's where the devil lives.
In a May 20th letter, 21 regional leaders, Micronesian President Pinello called for the single most game... I did read that one already. The Pacific needs to genuine partners, not superpowers that are super focused on power. What?
Superpowers that are super
genuine
focused.
partners, not superpowers.
Listen to these words here.
But are super focused on power.
Oh, is that what it said?
Yeah.
Oh, I like the other one better. It was more interesting.
Adding that after an excellent meeting with Wang, Fiji sought stronger Chinese commitment to trade the environmental issues. The countries ultimately didn't support China's proposal. The U.S. had cast that is reluctance to engage with Beijing, but Wang signed other bilateral deals while in the region. I'm actually going to go and pull this back up because there is something in there. Leaders appeared miffed by Beijing's abrupt presentation to a pre-written agreement rather than discussing its first, said Charles Dunst, an expert in Asia at the Center of Strategic and International Studies. Opposition to the specific pact doesn't indicate a wholesale or final rejection of cooperation with China. So then, if you remember the other picture, whatever, that was larger. So there's Australia. Look, there's the Solomon Islands that they're actually.
It says Polynesia. I think that's the T-shirt I'm wearing. Is 50% of that in the cotton. That's clever. Actually, that's kind of my job. What the hell are you doing taking my job with these cheesy jokes like this? Like, I mean, unemployment's already kind of bad off. Like, you know, like you don't know the situation in this country. Like, I only have one job. God,
here's the point. As in other regions, China seeks access to natural resources, trade, and infrastructure projects such as internet cables and ports and airfields. That's what they're doing. They're trying to actually set up bases out in the Pacific so that they can actually go and do what they need to do with their military. And they're going to actually go and they're going to populate all these islands all the way through here. I can see it. They're going to do whatever they can to actually sway tensions in their direction. So that way it's harder for the United States to fight back. Lady Dingo says, yes, they are. I have seen them and fed them. What is she feeding? Oh, Tasmanian devils. Yeah. I had to actually read back and actually check it out to see what you guys are actually talking about. But you can see there's large. This is just a large article. I'm going to stop reading it because this is
a large platform there.
Yeah, right. How big that boat is.
I don't think it's a boat. I think it's more like a rig type of thing.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's like a military rig instead of an oil rig.
The rising tension, especially
I shall be right back.
Certainly created a whole new level of enthusiasm for more and more players to participate with the U.S. and we're trying to take advantage of that. Go figure. These articles will be pinned, they'll be actually down in description after the show is over. Anybody wants to finish reading the articles. Oh, he actually went away. He'll be back. He's going to actually go and most likely jump on a different device. He's going to be interested in this one. We're going to bring it back to the States. We're, whatever. This is kind of sad, strange, to go along with all the stuff that's already been occurring in the United States with fires and swine flus and whatever else and whatever avian flus taking out turkeys and large areas of chickens and all these different fires that have occurred. Now, all of a sudden, large chicken processing plant shuts down suddenly amid soaring costs, widespread shortages. A large Tennessee chicken processing plant has shut down suddenly, citing soaring costs amid record high inflation. Georgia's Incorporated, one of the nation's largest vertically integrated chicken producers, is closing down one of its plants in Campbell County. The news came as a shock to employees and locals, with around 200 jobs being at risk. The news comes as America is also facing unprecedented food shortages as the economy teeters on the brink of recession. Campbell County Mayor E.L. Morton told WLVT-TV that he was working to ensure the plant would remain open so the closure would not hurt employees' livelihoods. I have contacted the Tennessee Economic and Community Development staff to request assistance in keeping the plant open or facilitating a sale to another operator. I've requested Governor Lee's assistance as well. My primary concern is for the welfare and the dedicated workers who have been the backbone of our operation. Our prayers go out to them as well as our very best efforts to keep them employed in Campbell County. So this is going to get very sad and strange all at the same time. It's going to be like, what in the world? Where's the chicken? I'm hungry. I want chicken. And you're not going to find it. Before the sale, the plant had employed 285 employees. It produced fully cooked pork, beef, and turkey products that were then delivered to retail food service and convenience store sectors until George's took over, according to Talk Business. The Caryville plant's closure comes as food prices have been rising in the country, both due to inflation and Russia's war against Ukraine, which has had effects on the world crude oil, fertilizer, and agricultural markets. George's did not issue a statement to publicly explain the closure. Yeah, exactly, you guys. Hunting. Go get yourself a little gun or whatever and go and take out some squirrels, some other things, whatever, and feed yourself some meat. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported earlier this month that the Consumer Price Index, a measure of inflation that takes into account typical consumer expenses, including food, rose by 8.6% without seasonal adjustments over the last 12 months. According to the BMO Real Financial Progress Index report released in May 31, Americans were responding to the growing inflation by changing their food and purchase habits. The report found that 42% of Americans were changing the way they go grocery shopping, looking for cheaper items instead of fixating on brand names and purchasing only essential items. Also, 46% are either dining out less or conscientiously spending less while dining out. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine what a nice sit-down restaurant would charge you for something, being that you could walk up to a McDonald's or a Burger King and you buy a couple of Big Macs and a couple fries and you're spending $50. Earlier this month, another major food company announced it would shut one of its plants in the country, citing high business costs and strict regulations in California. Smithfield Foods announced in June 10 that it would close its Vernon, California plant and decrease operations in California, Utah, and Arizona. Smithfield, however, said it had reached a deal with unions to ensure the closure would have minimal impact on workers. Based on Springdale, Arkansas, George's is one of the nation's oldest poultry companies, dating back to the 1920s. 100 years old. Interesting. According to the company's website, the company deals in packaged chicken for retail, fully cooked products such as burgers and sausage patties, and food service. While specializing in poultry, the company has also been working to diversify its offerings. Oh my lord, you gotta be kidding me. It's Jimmy YouTube.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
How are you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Long time no talk.
Right? Good Jeebus.
Yeah, it's been a few days.
Yeah. Good gracious. In internet time, that's like years.
Right?
What do you got going here?
Well, AmericaShirts just said he was going to go switch devices real quick, so he'll be back here in a few moments.
Okay.
We had gone through quite a bit. This current article that we're dealing with is dealing with food shortages.
Oh.
I just finished the article as you were popping in here. So this is a large chicken processing plant shuts down suddenly amid soaring costs and widespread shortages.
This is something a lot of people, like normal people, seem to be talking about, you know?
Right. Look at this Tennessee chicken processing plant. These different states that are dealing with it, that was the main gist of it, was this particular Georgia's meat. When you get down into the bottom side of the article, it actually starts talking about Smithfield Foods also having issues, which is strict regulations in California, and then decreasing operations in Utah and Arizona as well.
Lady Dingo, a snipe hunt is where you clap your hands 3 times and go, here, snipe. Let me demonstrate. Here, snipe. Here, snipe. Just like that. Divinity, what's up, girl?
Oh my god, dude. These people are awesome. If you haven't been here for a few days or whatever.
Jimmy!
Yeah, Jimmy. I'm up to some 80-some subs. I got a few people that join me on a nightly basis now in chat. It's wonderful.
Sweet. What's up, guys?
It's like a whole new ball game once you get people in your chat. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, you get that level of interaction, you know, and that's just great.
I picked up another one tonight. 84 subs. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to finish, subscribing, liking, sharing, doing all that fun stuff. Jimmy YouTube, you should actually check out his stuff. He actually does have a channel himself.
Yeah, I should do a drawing on there tomorrow. That should be, maybe I'll do one tomorrow morning. That'd be cool.
There you go. There you go. Be looking forward to it.
Yeah. We'll see if you're up, Frog Man.
Yeah, see if I'm awake. See if the kid's awake yet. So, because it is a Monday night news night.
Yes.
Here's the next article. Amazon builds property empire quietly buying land across the United States. Quietly?
Yeah, I mean, we've known they've been doing this for a long time.
How quiet are you when we actually can see the article right in front of our face? So, let's see here. This is the 193 acres just outside Round Rock, Texas, were coveted by some of the biggest developers in the U.S. Located a few miles north of the booming city of Austin, the Vol parcel could be used for virtually anything given the state's lenient land use laws. So, when the Robinson family put their property on the market last year, there was a strong interest from the range of real estate players, including home builders, private equity giant Blackstone, and Did I say that?
Yep. See, Hopper. See, that's why I like to do it in the daytime. It's just less complicated.
So, let's see. So, when the Robinson family put the property in the market last year, there was a strong interest in the range. I'm sorry, there's the Blackstone thing. But when the successful bidder emerged in October, it wasn't a real estate firm. It was the world's largest e-commerce company, Amazon. Starting about 3 years ago, the Seattle-based Colossus quietly began searching for property in key U.S. markets such as Southern California, Texas, Illinois, Florida, and the Bay Area. Between 2020 and 2022, Amazon tripled the amount of built industrial space it owns in North America.
Yeesh.
It tripled. Holy man, that's a lot. That's almost ridiculous.
What are they doing with all that land?
Well, they need warehouses to hold all this product that they plan on holding until we decide to purchase it.
They could be holding drugs in like any one of those warehouses, and nobody would ever know.
No, probably not. Sometimes Amazon buys existing buildings, such as the defunct call centers, but it also purchases bare land, in which the company acquired about 4,000 acres in the same period.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they just gobble up the land. If it's not Bill Gates, you might as well give it to somebody else. Amazon plans to use much of its real estate for a new generation of towering fulfillment centers that can store a wide variety of products close to customers in populous areas. And that's pretty much what it is. It's like
drugs.
the second somebody wants something, we just go order it up off of Amazon, and it'll be there within the next 2 days.
Built by some poor kid in China.
All right.
Poor Uyghurs, man.
Lady Dingo, does Amazon also buy burned out poultry farms? Maybe.
I wonder.
I'm sure somebody has some interest in all of that. So then it continues. This is buying land is a major shift for Amazon, which historically relied on a handful of developers to find property, build fairly simple warehouses, and rent them back to the company. When Amazon is increasingly taking parts of the development process in-house, often bidding against longtime partners for the best space.
4,000 acres.
4,000 acres.
Jeebus.
Yeah. Hopper's been paying attention to us. He's full of facts. All the fun stuff that we've been covering over the last 8 months. It's potentially risky strategy that exposes Amazon to the vagaries of the industrial real estate market. The company also overbuilt during the pandemic and is saddled with too much warehouse space now that the surge in online shopping has decelerated. Yeah, that's why good thing they built all this up, because they're like, oh, now nobody's buying anything. How come? As a result, Amazon is looking at sublease space it doesn't need and has slowed its warehouse expansion. Like all companies, we're adapting to the availability of real estate and location of our customers' demand. And we're also constantly evaluating our approach based on our financials. But the company said there's no change in its long-term real estate strategy. Executives remain committed to securing land in the right locations to fulfill founder Jeff Bezos' vision of making an online purchase as instantly gratifying as a trip to the store. If Amazon doesn't keep marching closer to customers now, it could permanently surrender its proximity to retail competitors like Walmart that are just a short drive away. Because, yeah, there's Walmarts freaking everywhere. There's going to be something on the other side of all the investment for the consumer. People will buy more on Amazon than they see they can get when they can see that they can get it in 5 hours instead of 2 days. 5 hours?
Yeah, convenience over, anything else.
Amazon has spent at least $2.2 billion acquiring land or properties slated for redevelopment in the last 2 years, according to CoStar, which says the estimate for conservative The estimate is conservative because some states, including Texas, don't disclose purchase prices. In March of 2020, the company shelled out $30 million for 63 acres as a bustling industrial area between San Diego and the U.S. border with Mexico, when it built a 130-foot tall state-of-the-art facility that can process a large assortment of products for same-day shipping. The company was opening new logistics facilities at the rate of about one every 24 hours at the time. So few realized the transactions represented a departure from standard practice. I'm not going to read the rest of this article.
You kind of get the gist of it.
That's pretty much what it comes down to, right? You get the gist of it. You don't. If you want to read the rest of it, there will be a link down in the description later. They're just basically all they're going to do is they're going to continue to build and build and build, consuming more land, and they're going to try doing whatever they can to make it a 5-hour, drone trip from warehouse to your house. Should we just talk to chat until AmericaShirts shows up?
Oh yeah, let's see what everybody's up to tonight. Why not?
Hopper says, yeah, they're globalists. Yes, every single one of them, they're all globalists. Talk to me, peeps. Let me ask a question. Let me know what you're actually thinking.
No.
Like I said, I don't want to burn through all this before AmericaShirts gets back because
this is scaring the old people, and that's a shame.
Nobody wants to talk to us? They're
nope. They hate us, man.
They want to talk to chat. Oh shit! Don't
don't
talk to
me.
Don't say anything. Like everybody got up to go to the bathroom at the same time.
They don't love us, man.
Oh, they do. They do because 15 likes already.
Shit.
Yeah, right. Everybody should hit up them like buttons, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Hopper says Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, and Dan Crenshaw are all in the World Economic Forum. Yep.
Did you say Elon Musk?
Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, and Dan Crenshaw.
I could believe Tulsi and Dan. Elon Musk, maybe. I don't know. I didn't figure he liked to hang out with all those elite types.
AmericaShirts. You gotta make sure his microphone's working before we do anything else.
Oh yeah.
You can put that back up there.
What is the Schmertz? Oh, golly.
He hit the button on his microphone.
I heard him.
Is this thing on?
This thing is on.
It is on. Speak up.
Are we sure?
Yep, speak up.
Who? Me?
Yeah, you. Yeah,
yeah, you.
Huh? Oh.
Huh?
It's Jimmy YouTube.
Ah.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. I love you.
AmericaShirts, while you were gone, we did cover a couple different articles here real quick. We covered the large chicken processing plants that had shut down in Tennessee and California. And we just went through Amazon building property empires.
Hey, very noted, Hopper. I'll keep my eyes out.
Enough talk.
Weak.
What? Lady says, hey, Divinity, did the turd burger Amber call her daughter Ona or something? Is that a common name? I have no clue. I've never heard of such a thing.
What the hell?
If you know what she's talking about, you know.
Sounds like the child of some freaking, like, I don't know, giant or something from the Old Testament or whatever.
Oh, no.
Like, what the?
Oh, no.
This is my daughter, Ona. You may bed her, but only if you believe in the Lord.
Okay, so...
Lady thing, I know.
I found this very disturbing. There's a couple disturbing articles that come up in the next few years. 46 people were found dead in a trailer. 16 hospitalized, San Antonio officials say.
Lady finger. Oda Duapua. Like your mother.
Weird shit. That's why it's probably Elon's.
Weird shit indeed. Literally.
Came from the Greeks.
No, K-Hopper, you should have said she heard. You should have said turd heard it came from the Greeks. Because okay.
Right.
You missed one. I got you. I'm just kidding. So anyways, enough talk.
Let's fight.
So then it's really kind of quick article. It says San Antonio, 46 people were found dead in a tractor trailer in the southwest side, and 16 had been transported to area hospitals, according to San Antonio police and fire officials. It's tragic. They had families and were likely trying to find a better life. It's nothing short of horrific human tragedy. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus said officers received a call 10 minutes before 6 p.m. Monday at 9,600 block of Quintana Road when a person working nearby heard a cry for help. When the worker approached, he saw several bodies inside an 18-wheeler trailer with its doors partially open. Crews with San Antonio Fire Department arrived on the scene to find stacks of bodies in the trailer and many people too weak to let themselves out.
Jesus. Human traffickers?
Yeah, this is illegal immigration, ladies and gentlemen.
And they're finally catching some of it and actually letting us know about it. It says Hood said 46 people, men and women who ranged from teens to young adults, were pronounced dead at the scene. He said they died from heat stroke and heat exhaustion as the trailer had no air conditioning and no water. I mean, obviously no bathroom facilities either. Temperatures reached more than 100 degrees on Monday. First responders, over 100 degrees? Is 150 in the trailer then? If not more?
Oh, God, yeah, it'd be like over 200.
Yeah.
Then with all those people there in their own body heat, I mean, God.
Plus, they're getting sick, like terribly sick from all the fumes. Breathing in human shit and piss. Jesus. What kind of fucking world do we live in?
This says first responders helped 16 people, 12 adults, and 4 minors out of the trailer. The survivors were rushed to local hospitals with heat-related injuries. Hood said, very hopeful they're going to survive. I mean, if I lived through that and I didn't survive, I might actually be a little bit more happy, maybe. I don't know. Lady Tingo. 10 medic units were used to transport the survivors. Hood said 60 members of the SAFD will undergo behavioral assessments after seeing the stacks of bodies. Overall, he said the response went very smoothly and very quickly. McManus said 3 people were in custody. However, he said he is unsure if they were connected to the tragedy. Well, if you arrested them, let's hope. That's what the issue was. And McManus said federal Homeland Security investigations would be taking over the investigation. Antonio Fernandez, CEO of Catholic Charities, said they are working to help survivors. He said the Archbishop is devastated after hearing the news.
This is what illegal immigration does. Human trafficking, all the rest of it, and the cartels don't give a shit because they're making bukus of money.
This is freaking
Trafficking people over the border because they control
They're still dealing with
the
the
whole
situation,
southern part
obviously.
of the border, of course.
Oh, that's good reporting. Holy hell.
I know, nice cricket sounds.
We got a call from the city of San Antonio to come and help, potentially help the people who are here tonight. So the Catholic Church and the city have been working with these issues for many, many years now. And our goal is just to provide for the families, for the people who are going to survive this. So if they need a place tonight to stay, or they need clothes, or they need food, whatever they need, Catholic Church will provide for that.
What have you been told?
No, same thing that happens to everybody is like we know that more or less 40 people plus have died, and many people have been taken to the hospital. So we don't know how many people exactly, but at the end of the day, we'll just try to help as many people as we can.
Any children?
We don't know.
Nada.
Mm-mm.
Do you know how often you've responded to this kind of situation in San Antonio or nearby?
This is not the first time that we do this. Years ago we had the problem when a lot of people actually died in another truck. And then there has been some other incidents that, we just help. For us, we help everybody that we can. So right now I wish I know more, but we don't. But as soon as we know, we'll see.
There's been a lot of tragedy around in this area here with Uvalde, and I imagine you all responded to that too.
Yeah, Catholic Church has run now a counseling center in Uvalde. We are hiring therapists to stay there for a long, long time, for years, because we believe that each human being, each child is a child of God, and we're going to help everybody as much as we can.
Have you anything about where these folks might have been from?
No, not yet.
How many do you know?
We don't know. I mean, I don't know right now. I hear 40 people, 40 plus, but again, that's the police, or that's someone from the city. I don't know for sure yet. We're just here in standby like you are, just to be sure that we can help the kids or the families or whoever needs help tonight.
What would you say to people that are watching right now? Panama. Last week I just talked to a woman, Colombian, with her husband, who are thinking of coming this way, and they don't see stuff like this all the time. What would you say to someone that's thinking of coming?
It's not for me to tell them to come or not to come. Each one has their own needs and responsibilities and life issues. It's a difficult journey. Catholic Charities provides help to thousands of people every week, and we see them with nothing. And they come and they lost so much. So I admire what they're doing. I admire the fact that they need to do this, and it's sad for me that they cannot stay in their own countries. But it's not a beautiful way.
Ahora, en español la misma cosa.
La gente que viene de otros países no es un.
Sorry, I don't speak Spanish, so I have no clue what you. I'm assuming they're just going to translate everything into Spanish real quick.
Right.
No sé.
I mean, yeah, this is what happens when there's illegal immigration. This is what happens when you incentivize people and tell people, oh, it's perfectly fine. Just take yourself and your kids up here, and then you just hop across the border because Joe Biden says it's okay. And then you have some people who are like, thinking, oh, yeah, I can leech off the system. There's a lot of people who do that. But there is also a portion of them that go like, oh, hey, I'd actually like my kid to have a good life. And then they send them up there, and then they get raped and graped, pardon me. And they have all kinds of other different issues that they deal with, sexually and otherwise. And then, they get stuck in a hot car for like 3 days in 100-degree weather with a bunch of people dying all around them. But like they said, it's like, we didn't really hear anything like that happening over here in Colombia. It's like, yeah, because the drug cartel people and the globalists that are paying for all of this, like George Soros and the rest of these people, they're not going to tell you this because you are human meat that they want to ship up here for extra votes, for extra, low-paid work, for all the rest of that shit. Like, the hell, they're not going to tell you. You are their pawns in this game. And of course, some of them are willing participants of that. They're like, yeah, man, I get to come up here and get free shit all the time. But there's another portion of them that would actually like for their families to actually have a good life and whatever else. And it's like, oh, well, this is the only way you can come up here. You must travel this way. Instead of like coming to the United States illegally because, it's just so laborious. You don't want to do that, sweetie. No, you want to send your kid on a ride on top of a terrain car because that's the only way across. Like the shit that they give some of these people, it's just, and this is the human tragedy that results in this, whether or not these individuals wanted to leech off the system and be criminal in their behavior, or whether or not these people were people who wanted to have a good life. Either way you look at it, they don't deserve to die in a hot car. But yet this is what ends up happening because of the criminality of this whole process of illegal immigration that comes across the southern border. It harms every single individual in the process. Doesn't matter what your intentions are. Doesn't matter any of it. It harms us in the United States. It harms the people coming across. It is harmful to all of humanity in this situation all around. Should not be happening. Should not be taking place. And yet, the Biden administration, aka Obama administration 3.0, actually, because it's the third term of Obama. I like to say 2.0 because it's the thing that most people say, but it is his third term. The Obama third term here, the Biden administration, wants this to take place. They love this. They want this to happen. It suits their corporate overlords' interests to do so. It suits their own party interests to do so, to try and make it so that, like, you're illegally here, and the Democrats will allow you to be legally here, but illegally here. But if the Republicans get into power, they might enforce the law, so you better vote Dems into power or else you're gone. And so they're basically held hostage, like, well, okay, I guess I just have to do whatever the hell the Dems say and vote for them or do whatever the hell because the Republicans are going to throw me out. And it creates a bad situation for that, and then sways politics one side or to the one side of the aisle. And again, like I said, the corporate interest, right? They don't want to pay Americans what would be a living wage after they're driving everything up. They would rather pay some Mexicano or some, other, person from Latin America, Central or South America to, come up here and get paid way less. Because they think the US dollar is worth more than it actually is. Of course, it's worth as much as people want to recognize it as it is. And, it is worth more than, their currencies from their own home countries. But, it's a total shit show. It's a total, honestly, it's like a crime against humanity is what it is. To try and tell people and lie to people and try to incentivize people who would be criminal in their behavior to come up here. Because again, as Trump said himself, it's like they're not sending their best people. These countries, they can just open up their prisons and then just be like, hey, go away. Go up there,
They're
right?
rapists. They're murderers.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have another tiny portion, or I don't know about tiny, but like, a portion that actually would want to have a better life, and they're told like, oh my god, do you want I mean, this is how they do it. Like, they'll go to the South American countries and they'll knock on these people's doors, like in Honduras, and they'll be like, hey, there's a lot of gang violence, there's a lot of this crazy crap going on, wouldn't you like your kid to have a better life? It's like, yes, like, hey, here's your free trip to America. It's like, oh my god, quick, get the kid. I don't want him living in this drug infested hellhole. My god. Like, they're lied to and they're manipulated, because these people don't have a very good education from these countries that they're from, and they're not all that caught up in everything that's going on in the world as a result of all the shit that they have to deal with on the ground in their own home country. And so these New World Order people that are paid by George Soros come along and they're like, hey, we're from George Soros, we're from the UN, we're from whatever, like, you should totally come to America. It's like, that's the only way. It's like, oh my god. And then they send their kid, and then their kid gets raped and molested and God knows what the hell else, and then they get stuck in a hot car with a bunch of dying people all around them with the smell of crap and urine everywhere for days, while being baked alive. But Biden thinks that's great, ladies and gentlemen. Kamala thinks that this is wonderful. We should have more of this.
It's democracy.
Yes, it's democracy. It is democracy at work right here.
You mean democracy?
Yes, it's democracy. This is democracy at worst.
Don't make fun of her psoriasis.
Right here. This is democracy as work. Right here in front of you.
So then, to move on from one tragedy to the next, do not go into a Subway and order too much mail.
Oh. Are we talking to a certain individual here?
Monday morning, police say a customer didn't like how the workers made the sandwich. Investigators say the shooting was all over too much mayonnaise. If you can believe
why I
it.
don't fuck with fast
Justin
food work,
Carter
man.
is live at the scene downtown on Northside Drive. Justin, the owners say the victims, they were model employees.
Of course they say
it's
that.
Just unbelievable. It kind of makes you shake your head. Yeah, the owners told us that it was two young ladies who were shot all over making a sandwich for someone. One of them lost their life. Let's set the scene for you. Here's the scene right now. You can still see caution tape surrounding this building. Obviously, it's closed right now. There's also bullets in the front entranceway of this restaurant. Now, police say this is just senseless.
Folks, if you live in a place like this, buy some freaking body armor at this point. I swear to God, this is the way. If you're trapped in a liberal hellhole like this, you need to get yourself some goddamn body armor and get it concealed and wear it. There's ways to do it. I can show you the damn website for the love of God. Like, if you live in a place like this, and if you were hearing this out of my voice, get some goddamn body armor for the love of God. Because this shit just keeps going, and this criminality just keeps going on. Like, for God's sake. You might as well just get yourself, like, a concealed.
I would
body
almost
armor.
assume this store will never open up ever again. They'll just close it and then it'll be gone.
I mean, yeah, there you go. There's business that's lost there too. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, my God, get some body armor, people. There's places I can show you a place, cheap as shit. Just go get. Pardon my French. It's very cheap. Just go and get some, for the love of God. Protect yourself, for God's sake. And of course, obviously, concealed carry, firearm protection, self-defense type stuff. Okay, yes, that's all. But we know in some of these liberal hellholes, they won't let you do any of that with that. But there's hardly any regulations on body armor right now. I know New York's trying to start to do this shit, so grab some if you live in these areas, for the love of God. K. Hopper says, have you seen the pictures from the Amtrak train that hit the dump truck? And the train actually flipped over off the tracks.
Holy fuck.
Sad. Just recently happened. Oh my God.
Gonna take a look.
Is that what happened? Because I heard something about like an
away.
Amtrak wreck, and I'm like, well, I mean, like Amtrak freaking wrecks like 2 or 3 times, 5 times a year or whatever. Like these freaking Amtrak trains.
We'll go to that tragedy next.
Again, Joe Biden names himself Amtrak Joe. So what the hell, Joe? Like, why did you let this happen for us? Anyway, Lady Dinger says, OMG, that was so bad. My Jesus, my Lord. We do not have this here. What the heck? That's terrible. It's saddening. I'm shocked. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So now you have to also look at where this is. This is downtown Atlanta. This is in Georgia, one of the probably deepest, darkest blue cities. And for what it is, most likely, chances are is that all three of these individuals, and I'm not going to say that they were, but most likely, the three individuals were most likely of a black complexion. Just saying, because of where it is, damn well. I could be wrong, so
Subway
don't quote me.
co-owner Willie Glenn says he is stunned and heartbroken.
It just breaks my heart to know that someone has the audacity to point a weapon and shoot someone for as little as too much mayonnaise on a sandwich.
It happened here around 6:30 Sunday at this Subway restaurant on Northside Drive in downtown Atlanta. Investigators on scene collecting evidence, trying to figure out why someone would do this.
What you're seeing behind me is the result of a tragedy, senseless tragedy that we've seen numerous times throughout the
Yeah,
year.
Jules.
Where an argument leads to gunfire, and now we have someone dead.
Dead over mayonnaise. You can see where the bullets pierced through the front of this restaurant. Al Robinson is also a co-owner and says the victims were very young and star employees.
You pull out a gun and just shoot somebody over a sandwich? That's ridiculous. My heart just breaks right now.
See, pause this for a second. See, you were just talking about like, oh yeah, like you're probably of black complexion or whatever. Like that guy right there and the other store owner, like that is representative, in my opinion, of most of Black America at this point, especially at this point.
Right, they take each other
especially
out.
this point. What he's no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like that guy to me, that you just watched there, the co-owner and the other guy that was the co-owner. That to me is representative of the majority of Black Americans in this country, across the country. I don't mean downtown Atlanta. I don't mean the gang people. I don't mean that. I mean like your average Black American that lives down the street, that lives in an apartment, that lives like wherever and just, has kids and tries to live their lives pretty well normally and tries to stay out of this. In my opinion, that is representative of the majority of Black America. This is getting all the, and it should get attention, but there's way too much, and I guess I shouldn't go into all of this. This is like a little bit of a rant, but I mean, like you listen to like some of the rap music, some of the rap songs, some of the other different things that is in popular culture. This is pushing more and more young Black Americans into this kind of mentality, into this kind of modality. This is a complete 180 from what, Black America used to be, from the way Black Americans tried to live upstanding lives and give respect unto themselves before, during, and after the Civil Rights era. And then now we have this crap that goes on in Black America. And it is outrageous. And this is the type of culture that is not only allowed, but it is proliferated, it is encouraged. And you have all of these other Black Americans that are around there that are just trying to raise their kids the right way, and their kids are being fed all this crap. And of course, everybody's kids are being fed this kind of shit too, by the way. But especially Black Americans.
No, I don't think they're pushed by the music. I really
Well,
don't.
it's a part of it. It's a part of it. It's psychological. I'm not saying it's like they're forced by music. I'm saying it's psychological. It's like implanting these things in your subconscious over time. It's like you're growing up and like your dad like has this on. It's like, well, it's this Black guy sings it, so like, oh, we have to listen to it or whatever the hell, and like and it's all this crap, right? And like the kid might hear it or somebody else might hear or whatever, right? And like over time, these things get implanted, and it's the same thing with anything. I mean, like it's just like the Disney movies and like the weird perverted crap that they slip in there sometimes to plant into your subconscious. It's this thing. I mean, this is a whole other rant, I know, but like, I mean,
No, you're fine. Do it.
This is what I was saying there with that guy that's there. I think that represents the position of what Black Americans really want in this country. They don't want Black Lives Matter. They don't want Antifa. They don't want their businesses and their homes and their families destroyed and burned it to the ground. But yet this is what's being forced on them as their only option by the Dems and the local politicians, because, oh my God, if you don't do this, then you're not Black, quote unquote. Like, no.
Look at all the terrible
And then, of
things
course,
they're saying about Clancy Thomas.
there you go. There you go. He's an upstanding citizen. He's an educated man. He's a very well-spoken man. And as a result of that, they're being like, oh, see, he's not Black. He's not part of Black culture. I mean, this is a whole other discussion. I mean, you
They're
go to
calling him
Thomas
a field,
Sowell.
you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like
how
Thomas
racist
Sowell
is
wrote a whole
that?
book about this kind of stuff. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, Jimmy. Exactly. Exactly. It's because if you don't go along with the Dems, and if you don't degrade yourself, and you don't, degrade with Black individuals, Black community in America, if you don't degrade your own culture and your own communities and your own towns and areas that you live in, if you don't corrupt your own families and so forth, well then you're not Black. Like, what the hell?
Did you see what Count Dankula did?
Oh my God, yes, he's Justice Dankula.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
Justice Dankula
He's
now on
Justice
Twitter.
Dankula.
And he's like getting hate from random people that just don't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah,
They're
there's people
"What
that are
terrible
literally
things
ranting.
you say.
Yeah, they're
How
ranting
dare
about him
you."
being like he's a real Supreme Court justice. They're literally angry and pissed off. Like, how
And they think
is
he's
this
like
guy
from
allowed to say this?
America.
Yes.
What? They're like, what
He's from
state you
Scotland.
from? Never mind, I'll look it up. I'll find you. People are so fucking. I don't know. They just need to chill.
Well, they're racist.
Yeah, they need
They
to chill out
are
with
the
all that
racist
hatred
people.
they got.
But yeah, I mean, this shooting shit, the gang shit, the just, hey, I'm just gonna pull out a weapon and go crazy. Like this degradation of morality in the Black community in this country is outrageous. And most Black Americans don't want this, but a lot of younger people that are growing up are getting like basically indoctrinated into it. And they're getting sort of initiated into this kind of culture of like, this is what you should do. I mean, we were watching beforehand at one point, Koolfrogg, where it was like a majority Black school, and they were having a graduation party, and all of a sudden, everybody just starts getting into this giant fight and screaming and swearing and like chucking chairs across the room and like flipping tables at each other and like just going completely batshit. And it's like, what the hell? But you don't see that in white communities a lot. You see that in mostly Black communities because this is what they're trying to instill in the young people in the Black community to further degrade and destroy Black America. The Black Americans in this country. It's disgusting, but this is what they want to do. And you can go back into the history of all this. I mean, Margaret Sanger, you can look at, the Planned Parenthood things involved in this as well. I mean, you just go on, like, there has been this concerted effort to use Blacks because the Dems think that Blacks are stupid and they'll never catch on. And so we can just keep doing shit to them. And then when we're done with them, then we'll put it on to everyone else. And that's the key here. They want to do this kind of shit with everybody, but let's do it first with Blacks. And so, but I mean, God, just the violence in the culture, right? Like, like, oh, what you mean? Like, you didn't give me what I wanted? Like, I'll shoot you. It's like, that's not being a man. That's called being an out of control little boy with a gun who's super sociopathic and, well, psychopathic, actually. So, anyways, that's a whole other, I could probably go on for like an hour and a half on all that. But I just saw that guy and I'm like, yeah, that is what I feel like the majority of Black America thinks about all this. It's like, holy shit. What? This is insane.
So then Lady Dingo pointed out subculture. Jules agreed. And then she said she put an accidental pig. I don't know of any pigs being accidental. No. See, Lady Dingo says, I thought it was, I've listened to quite a bit of rap and lyrics, etc., and it's a subculture within a culture. I mean, I grew up listening to rap, so I really don't. That's why I say I don't really see it. But
Yeah, it's just like, for example, into like modern music, a lot of more modern music, like even the tonalities that they use, and even like, for example, like the words of different things, how they use it, like like take like a Taylor Swift song, like this idea of like what is the lyric that she uses? Like a boys only love, boys only want love if it's torture. Like this whole thing of like this like sexual degradation being normalized. And you know, I mean, people laugh and stuff, but like that's what it is. It's like it's
I'm
implanting in your
laughing at
mind.
Hopper.
What about
Cardi
Oh
B
yeah,
is
oh yeah. There you go. Cardi
sub
B.
of a sub.
There you go. There you go. There's another instance of it. It's this degradation of society and culture. And again, it's not just blacks that listen to this too. Like everybody listens to this shit. And
What about the
for
girls
people,
don't like boys, girls like cars and money? It's not just rap, you know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or
It's like
hip
it's
hop, you
in
know. It's every genre.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like these things that they want to push onto the culture, our new world order overlords. This is what they want. They want to instill these things of the degradation of society, of culture, of marriage, of sexual relations between men and women. They want to degrade all of this and promote it and act like, oh, this is popular. This is the popular culture. When in reality, I think that what's happening is that the tide is turning in the other direction, and people are actually wanting stability in their life and wanting to not go bat crap, whether it be sexually, whether it be, oh my god, like, you know, pull out a gun and start like going crazy. Like people don't want this crap in their life. They don't want it in their, excuse me, they don't want it in their communities. They don't want this crap. They want to go back to being more stable, and they want to go back to having more morality. And what does that look like? Like, let's go there.
I mean, Jules is like, there's Will Smith and there's NWA, same time frame, but genres are vastly different. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, like I said, I'm one of those that actually grew up listening to the gangster rap and actually enjoyed it for what it was. I guess I'd never really thought that it was a thing. I graduated in class of 96, so... you know, I really...
Oh, yeah. I mean, and its timing is things, too. I mean, especially after, and she's right, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, music, movies, everything took like this super dark turn. I mean, there were things planted already, sort of, you know, kind of getting there. But after like the late 90s, the early 2000s, you can see a definite difference in the way in which music was done and the way in which, you know,
I was into
other
doing
different things were done.
drugs
Oh,
and
yeah.
other things at that time. I really wasn't paying attention to music or its culture. I just really stopped paying attention. For
I mean, like, you can look at like the
a few
Grammy
years.
Awards, you look at like
Was
the
that the 80s?
Oscars, you look at these other things, and you can definitely see like some of these award shows, even from the early 2000s. Like you can see some like satanic, like crazy shit. Like, I mean, it's way more blatant then than it was even in the early 90s or anything like that. I mean, like once you hit the late 90s and early 2000s, they just felt like they could just go bold with everything that they truly think of things and just throw it all out there. And that's just, again, this is like, you know, pervasive in all kinds of different areas. But, you know, yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, she's right. Yeah. He's like, you know, after 1996, yeah, it's, you know, late 90s, early 2000s is really where it really takes this dark turn. I mean, you have these songs where they're like, you know, again, right? It's like you have this thing of like this rap song and like depicting the assassination of Trump and crap. And I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, just blatantly, just like, oh yeah, just pull out a gun and shoot him, right? And this instilling of it in these people's minds, instilling of it in like these young men who have no fathers, who their mothers can't control them. There's gangs running rampant around them already, and they're just like, yeah, shoot that man, yeah, I don't like him, yeah, whatever, and like pull out a gun and start going crazy. It's like, no, but again, there's, you know, a breakdown of culture, there's a breakdown of family, there's a breakdown of everything.
At this point, it's
and that
like
needs to stop.
At this point, it's like a generations-long blood feud. Like, look at the Bloods and the Crips. Like, they can't just get together and get along all of a sudden. A lot of these people killed their family, each other's families, you know?
Jules of Cali says, my finance was flawed when we first started. Oh, yeah, she's talking to some Jen. But yeah. I mean, like I said, I could probably go for like an hour or two or something just into all the depths of this. But, you know, it's kind of the point I guess I wanted to make there is like, you know, I think a lot of this, the people want this to turn around. I don't think the majority of Black Americans want this kind of violence with their kids and young people in their communities. They don't want this kind of instability, this emotional instability, this crazy freaking all these black girls running around twerking themselves everywhere. Like they don't want this crap. They don't want this kind of depravity. They don't want this kind of crap for themselves and their children and so forth. And they want this to go a different direction. I think that's the majority of Black Americans, but I think a lot of their kids are being either swayed or just influenced from the culture around them to go in that direction. And it's really sad when you look at the history of Black America and how they were like their communities that they built up after being freed from slavery and after getting more civil rights, even when civil rights was something that they didn't have in totality in some states and localities, they still created schools and communities for themselves that were better off, more Christian, more moral, more religious, better off for their kids, better off for society and generations after them than any of the white communities around them in the Deep South. So, I mean, this is a whole discussion, but it's just so disgusting to see this kind of culture perpetuate with our fellow Americans like this in these areas with people that are of African American, Black American descent. It's just terrible. It's horrible. So
this doesn't have to be the culture now. You know, they had a thriving, beautiful culture.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Thomas Sowell has a whole book on this. It's like a, oh shoot, what did he call it? I just forgot the name of it. Like Black redneck or redneck culture in Black communities or whatever. Like he goes into the depth of sort of the history of a lot of this kind of thing and like goes into details about a lot of stuff. Names, goes on about different things. Just totally look up Thomas Sowell on these different things. He has videos on all this stuff too, by the way. But
yes, he does. He has tons of videos on all this stuff.
Again, very educated man, very well spoken. He's very intelligent, very well versed.
It's Black Rednecks and White Liberals. That's the book you're talking about. Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the name of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jules, what's up? Did I make a smart?
Yes, you did.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I did something smart? Whoa. So, not to go away from it, but, you know, we've...
Right. I just,
going on 2 hours right now. We're almost got a few more things to actually go through here, whatever. So, and, you know, this was brought up to me or whatever. I really didn't realize this was actually a thing. I didn't catch it. This is this current article is updated as of like 10:27, you know, about an hour and a half ago or so. It's Central Standard Time or whatever under, because it's out of Missouri. So it says 3 confirmed dead, dozens were injured after Amtrak passenger train derails.
God, I'm surprised it's only 3. Of course, then again, it was probably only 3 that were riding.
All of a sudden, the car that we were on was over and everyone was flying everywhere. Seats were coming apart, bags were going everywhere. And then, you know, after it stopped, you could smell the fumes, and so people started panicking, thinking it was going to catch fire. So we tried to get out as quick as possible.
God, like, how the hell? I mean, how the hell did this happen? What the?
And there are early reports of injuries. We're unsure of how many or how serious they are. Passengers have shared video. Several train cars on their side. Missouri state troopers confirm 8 cars of an Amtrak train left the track. It is train 4 from Los Angeles to Chicago.
Jesus.
The train hit a dump truck
God,
at
could
a
you
public
imagine?
crossing
And you're like
before
crawling
2
out of
this
the side of this
afternoon.
train. It's like in the middle of a
243
cornfield.
passengers, 12 firm, 8.
God, I'm sorry for talking over him, but like, God, I mean, could you imagine that? You're just like, you just got flipped the hell over and like knocked around, and you're just like, God, what the shit? And like, you just crawl out of a window, and it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of a cornfield. It's like, what the hell? Like, what just happened? Like, everything is like, what? I mean, could you imagine just like, boom, an instant, and you're just like, bang, flipped over. It's like, what the?
Cars of an Amtrak train left the track. It is train 4 from Los Angeles to Chicago. The train hit a dump truck at a public crossing before this afternoon. 243 passengers, 12 crew members
That's right, he hit
on
a dump
board.
truck. What the hell
Here
is
is
this
one
dump
of
truck
those
doing?
passengers talking about the moment the train left the tracks.
Was just dozing off to take a quick nap before my lunch reservation, and then there was a jolt, and then I woke up, and then the train started rocking and flickering, and it just seemed like a normal jolt, but then I could definitely feel it come off the tracks, and then it just kept going, and then it started to tip on my side, and I saw the ground coming towards me, well, the dirt and everything, so I shindied myself up against the wall because I was afraid the glass would shatter and I'd get, stuck underneath.
Jeez.
And then it stopped, and it was just silence.
First responders from throughout the region are there helping passengers out of those train cars now sitting on their side. Again, we have no numbers yet when it comes to injuries. Amtrak has opened up a hotline for people to get information on family or friends on board that train. The number is 1-800-523-9101.
God, I mean, what the hell is a dump truck doing there? Like, why is this thing stuck in the middle of the road? And then why the hell can't the train stop? I mean, I know these damn things go super fast, but still, I mean, you'd think that there's some way where they can see, like, in front of them to a certain degree. I mean, it's flat land. It's not like you're going around a curve on a mountain or something. It's like it's flat land. It's just right out in front of you. You'd think they could see something there on the tracks and be like, oh, shit, like, we got to slow down, folks. It's like, what the hell happened here?
It takes a long time to stop.
Trains take a long time to stop, and I mean, dump truck is going to take a long time to move. They're not usually, especially if it's full of anything.
I mean, did it just get stuck, or did they just park it there? Like, what the hell?
We don't know. It really doesn't actually say. I've kind of skimmed through the article or whatever, and it's really pretty much what they said in those clips or whatever is what you're going to get out of the article. I'm sure there will be a lot more information as of tomorrow. Maybe we'll try covering it again and see if we have better information as opposed to what we're actually catching now. Very sad. 3 people had died from it or whatever, and at least 50 were injured according to different articles or whatever. So it's really dependent on which article you pick up and read. That one was particular out of that was KMBC out of Missouri itself. So it was reasons that I pick up articles like those is because, like, if I can't pick up an article from New York Times or whatever and read it because they're not going to allow me to read it without a subscription of sorts.
K-Hopper, that's just a bad joke. Polar Express, the horror movie version.
Horrible.
I mean, you saw the conductor there with his fancy hat on, That's exactly what I was thinking of. Tickets, please.
He's fucking cool.
So then, from one tragedy to the next.
Again. Seems like that's all we do these days.
Look at that. MS-13 gang members convicted of trafficking a 13-year-old girl.
Oh, and by the way, these people wouldn't be able to come to America without, illegally going across the southern border to do so. Mostly, just to let you know. I mean, people can sneak across and do things all the time, but like generally speaking, in mass numbers that they've been able to come into the country here, they do that across the land. and that's from Mexico into the United States. So.
Right. So this particular article says 7 members of and associates of the MS-13 street gang have been convicted of trafficking in federal court after taking a 13-year-old runaway and coercing her into commercial acts in Maryland and Virginia. Maryland and Virginia? They're all the way up, and this isn't even, something that this isn't something that's near the border that we're worried about.
Yep.
This is something near our state capital.
Yep.
The 7 defendants in face of the mandatory minimum prison time of 15 years when they are sentenced in November. The U.S. Attorney's Office officer for the Eastern District of Virginia, which prosecuted the case, announced the jury verdict Friday. According to the FBI affidavit, the girl ran away from a youth home in Fairfax. She was trafficked for nearly 2 months in that year before she was recovered at the Bureau's Child Exploitation and Trafficking Task Force. The trafficking occurred in Woodbridge, Virginia, and Mount Rainier, Maryland.
Oh, I'm sure she ran away from the youth home, quote unquote. Right. I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
She ran away. Mm-hmm.
Yes. She ran away and was like, oh, hey, look, it's MS-13 gang members that are shirtless with tattoos all over themselves with cuts and carrying machetes. Like, oh, let's join them. Like, I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
Listen to this. She was also beaten on 2 separate occasions, 26 times in her backside with a baseball bat, once when she was initiated into the gang, and once when she was accused of stealing from another member. The 7 defendants, 6 men and a woman, lived in suburban Maryland and Northern Virginia and ranged in age from 22 to 50.
You have 100 subs?
No, she says 16 subs to 100.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, expert. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, he's like talking close to. Okay.
Yeah, no, he wants to do. He wants to help me get to that 100. He likes to do that stuff because that's what he does. That's his show, man.
Oh yeah, Joseph Kelly.
He's gotten several people over the 1,000, and if he wants to help me get over the 100, yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's set it up. Yeah.
Joseph Kelly says we are all going straight out of Campton. Crazy MF named Ice Cube, and then his son Crushed Ice that played in the Obi-Wan Shit Kenobi series.
She's been
of 6 episodes of horseshit.
She's had this song stuck in her head now for the last few minutes since we were talking about the. But from one tragedy to the next, that's pretty much what it is. I missed something. Uh-oh. Yep, this one should have been earlier in the episode.
Can't believe Expert's here.
This one should have been along with the first couple of articles that we had put up. So this is breaking. New York Supreme Court strikes down law that allowed non-citizens to vote.
Holy shit!
Yeah. There's a win. So the plan would have added some 800,000 New Yorkers to the voting rolls and would have allowed them to vote for mayor, public advocates, city councils, borough presidents, and school boards. They struck that stuff down. They're like, no. So this is the New York City Council approved a measure in January to give non-citizens the right to vote in local elections. But after the suit was brought by the GOP lawmakers, the New York Supreme Court ruled that no, non-citizens do not have the right to vote. There you go. You want to vote? You go and you become a freaking citizen. You don't get to run around this country thinking that you get to vote because you're just some random person from another country. It don't work that way.
Yep, that's what we're talking about with illegal immigration. Kind of blends right in there.
This should have actually been down in one of the first couple of articles or whatever, and maybe led to that as opposed to.
Expert
really don't need to read the rest of the article. I mean, you get the point.
Yeah. Expert says, I'm asleep. And then Jules says, aw, Expert is dreaming about us. Expert, are you sleep viewing this podcast right now?
He is.
This show? I mean, I believe it.
Yeah,
Hasn't
that's
taken that
what
freaking magnesium. I keep telling him to.
So disturbances almost everywhere when you think about it. You're like, what in the world is going on? Why would
I felt a great disturbance in the force.
Why would Fox News ask
As
such
if
stupid
thousands of
questions?
voices screamed out in terror, and then silence.
Again, this article and the last one should have
That's
been closer to the beginning.
Fox News blowing itself to hell.
Right,
Dude,
exactly.
when they
Have
talked
you
about
heard
that
this?
little boy going trans, it was all over for them.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Like you all could just go
Did you
straight
hear
to
this
hell after that.
from Carrie? What Carrie had to say? She was very disturbed with Fox.
She's super based, by the way. Extremely based.
You one thing. Obviously, as a candidate, you come under scrutiny. The Washington Post has a story today. It says Arizona GOP candidate who criticized drag queens was once a fan, according.
She wants you to say "mom" again.
Mommy.
Yes.
Yes.
Say it again.
Daddy.
Say it again,
Daddy.
Shirts. Say "mom."
I didn't say that. What the hell?
What's the opposite of a pejorative?
Oh, I said she's super based.
No,
Base mommy.
This is before I started playing the article.
Did Shirts say mommy?
No.
I think he said "mom."
Mum?
What?
Mum is the word.
I don't know.
To a drag queen. This is the quote. Arizona GOP gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake, who has attacked drag queens as dangerous to children, attended the shows of drag queen Richard Stevens for more than 20 years and once hired him to perform at her home. Do you care to address that?
I do care. I actually do care to address that, and I'm really shocked. I'm actually appalled that Fox News would take a defamatory story like that, and we are pursuing legal action against this drag queen. I'm appalled that you would bring that up when you have not talked about our stolen election. You've failed
We
to
just
talk
spent
about
3
that.
questions, Ms. Lake, talking about this. I just asked you a number of questions.
By the way, we're not contesting the election. We know that Joe Biden is the most legitimate president ever with the most votes. Period.
About it. I played the Arizona
This
House
is the
Speaker.
first of it.
Let's
This is the
let's
first
address
of it.
this story that's in the Washington Post. Every candidate takes
Wow.
tough stories. I'm asking you to
I'm
respond
happy
to it if you'd
address
like
it.
to.
I'm happy to address it, but I'm really disappointed in Fox. I thought you were a little better than CNN. This is a person
She calls him out and calls him "CNN."
who I covered for decades, 20 years, and he's never been in my home. He says he's been in my home for a drag show. That's ludicrous. He's never been in my home. He's lied. We tried to serve him defamation papers, and he's so shady that we can't even track him down because he's not even welcome at the places that he works.
I'm sorry, but this is the last question I'm going to ask. What about these pictures of you with him, Richard Stevens?
Brett,
And
the
what
issue
about
is-
the Post? I've performed for Carrie's birthday. I've performed in her home.
That's not
I've
true.
performed for her at
That's
some
not
of the
true.
seediest bars in Phoenix. I don't want to ask these questions. I asked you to address them. That's it.
I think you do want to ask him, but you don't want to ask about 2,000 Mules. I think you do want to ask about this. This is absolutely ludicrous. I'm talking about drag shows in schools. This is what triggered this man. Somebody who goes to a drag show with female impersonators is one thing. We don't want our tax money going into drag shows at school.
Okay, I understand
And
what
he
you're making a
triggered the
difference
left.
there, but you're
I'm
saying his
absolutely-
allegations are wrong, is
They're
what you're
false.
saying.
Yes,
Okay.
I am. And I'm really appalled that you would spend time on a false story like that.
What is that face
It's
he was
shocking.
making?
Well,
Go
I
back.
think
You didn't ask-
it's
you didn't
important
ask
to
my
have candidates
opponent.
address things that are coming up that might affect a race. And I thought you would
But
appreciate
you didn't
that.
ask my opponent, the establishment opponent who was here last week. You didn't ask her about her votes to
hell is
allow
that
illegal alien students to get a lower tuition than American students. You didn't ask her about the 70 plus times that she raised tuition on American students. You didn't ask her any tough questions.
That's
and
not
here
true.
you have me on and you try to bring a defamatory story out. It's really sad. I
Miss
thought there
Lake,
was hope.
I really.
I'm really a dumbass, and I just freaking put my foot in my mouth and have no clue what the fuck is going on.
Oh, get wrecked. Get fucking
Destroyed
wrecked.
him.
And by the way, like she's on a stage with what's his name? Brandon Straka, who is an openly gay dude. And she's up there with him with the walkaway move and stuff. She's not against people who live their lives in a different way, but just because she may have had a picture with somebody who was like that doesn't mean that this is something that she just wants plastered all over society and like, oh, let's just degrade everybody. Let's just do this thing with her. Like, you know, it's just so like it's so defamatory, just the whole nature of it.
As intended.
Exactly. Just one picture. Look, they only pulled up 2 pictures. And again, they're both people in like drag or whatever the hell. Like, do you even know if these are the same people? Like, do you know what the setting of any of this is? But no, none of those questions are asked. It's just simply, oh, well, let's just throw up this story of like, oh, she just loves drag queen people and she's had them around for 20 something years. And like, I performed in her house for her kids and whatever the hell. Like, this is all shit.
Exactly.
So I mean, this is Fox News.
Fox News,
who defends drag
queen
bullshit with little kids, will then go and try to take that same thing. Like they can take the moral high ground now and like attack her because there's a picture or two with like 1 or 2 of these individuals or these type of individuals, and then there's a defamatory statement.
Individual, right?
Yeah, it's like fuck off.
So I really seriously had nothing else for tonight. That was it.
Wow.
Based as hell right there. Carrie Lake. You're in Arizona. You need to vote for that woman.
And there was a reason that I put her after the 2 hour.
And again, she just keeps referencing 2,000 mules, 2,000 mules, 2,000 mules.
What a milf.
Oh, hi.
My fiance's son does the drag thing. Should have seen him as Maleficent. Ooh.
Any good?
Hopper says drag queens belong against the wall.
Ooh.
All the other maps.
I mean, that is my natural reaction, but I do understand that there are just people that just do wacky crap. So whatever you do, you know. But it doesn't need to be promoted. It doesn't need to be thrown out there like it's the best thing in the world, because it's not at all. And above all, again,
those shows can be very
don't do things in front of kids.
I bet they could be. I that's what they're. I mean, a lot of them are actual entertainers. They do that on purpose. They become entertainers so that they can make money off of what they did to themselves.
Hey, right on, Jules. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Some people need to go to the extremes to express themselves. So long as they don't involve anybody else in it, then who cares?
Quit involving my children or anybody else's. For
I mean,
matter.
if Don Quixote wants to dress up as a knight and run against a mill, then I mean, Don Quixote can do that. I don't care as long as Don Quixote doesn't harm anyone else in the process. Don Quixote can do whatever he wants. Right, exactly. like Don Quixote can do whatever he wishes. Like,
don't be dragging anybody else into this.
Right, exactly. And don't be trying to promote it like everybody should be doing this. Because if everybody in society was Don Quixote running at every mill that they saw, society would cease to exist. So
yeah, that would be a drag.
You know, that would be. That would be.
Yeah, people that take their kids to strip shows are disgusting, and they need to be put up against the wall with the rest of the maps.
Yeah. I don't know what they want to get out of that, out of showing their kid that. It's got to be something fucked up in their head.
And I would tend to agree with Kay Hopper about, you know, like with all the other maps. But there are, again, everybody is an individual. Doesn't mean that every single person that does this is that way. But a large portion of these individuals, I would say, are those type of people, if not just plain out just perverted. And of course, that shouldn't be criminal. But
to the kids. Look at that one that had like nothing on underneath, and they fucking just opened it right up for him. There it is, flopping out in front of the kids like a fucking South Park episode.
I mean, like, if these people were
There's
like
one
super.
in particular that I've seen several times come across Twitter. Where goes dancing across the floor and these big jugs are just a flopping, and then all of a sudden they go and they cover themselves up because you see that there's a young child watching, and they're like, oh, thank you. They take the money and they walk away covering themselves until they get to a point where they feel that they're a little bit more comfortable, and then they start dancing again. And it's like, even the dancer knew that this was wrong to do it in front of that child.
But they kept doing it. And see, that's my problem. It's like, if we're so moral and we're so whatever, like, well, why not? If you see that there's kids out there, why would you go out there and do something like this anyway? Like, stop. If you think that this is wrong, don't do it. But most of them don't.
Conservative
They just keep
Christian
going.
drag queens is an oxymoron.
That is absolutely correct. Yes. That is. Yeah, it is. That's very true. Of course, I saw a couple of pastors talk about during the COVID lockdowns, like, well, I mean, let's, since Fauci will let us, have, strip clubs open and stuff, he then he just like rips off his tie and like throws it out into the crowd. He's like, okay, it's a strip club. And he just keeps going. That's like,
yuck, Jules. Yuck.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not okay. Ever. Oh.
Anywho's.
Really? There was a death? The sergeant at arms in charge of security of the Capitol during J6 passes away under mysterious circumstances.
Oh, well.
You
How
don't say.
convenient is that?
Perfect freaking timing.
Oh, my. We are all in just such a state of utter shock.
And there they go, getting away with murder again.
Well, yeah, right.
Shit about it. Well, boys,
as
I think
they
I've
say,
had about as much as I can take. It is past my pumpkin time, and I think I shall bid
pumpkin.
you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad I could hop on quick.
You have a wonderful night. Everybody should check out Jimmy YouTube. He does have channels several different places.
Yes.
And as they say, folks, Jeffrey Epstein was a lot like Christmas lights. They don't hang themselves. So,
But maps do belong hung on the wall. Good night, everybody.
Perfect.
So, are you done? You good? Anything you'd like to share?
I don't think there's anything else. Let me look. Make sure. Not another.
And that's what I was doing. I was going through Twitter real quick to see if there's anything.
Oh, Zero Hedge says, quote, U.S. says it conducted strike on one Al-Qaeda leader in Syria. Oh, great. That's just what we need, is more bombs dropping in the Middle East.
Under Biden's watch. There you go. Perfect.
Look a little more here.
Let's just call it for the night. Everybody should actually check out AmericaShirts. How you see it on the screen, spell it out that way. Put it into Rumble. Check out his content over there. It's great. It's wonderful.
Oh, Biden meets with Erdogan. That's another thing. In Turkey, he's the leader of Turkey there. And I guess that's kind of about it for right now. Everything else we can probably just go over tomorrow, I guess. But
A Russian missile hits a Ukrainian mall filled with over 1,000 civilians. Apparently that's a thing.
we shall have to investigate this further.
Mm-hmm. Everybody make sure
So
you
he
go
would
down
use
below and
maps and he
check out that description. In the description, there's a locals and there's a Rumble channel for me. If something happens to this channel, that's where we'll be.
Yep. Locals, and Rumble. Totally should go check those out and sub to those. Yes, indeedy.
Hopper says he has lots to share, except for Lady Dingo, so he's not sharing that in particular.
Ooh.
Yeah, see? There you go, expert. Sub to the frog.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it on Rumble. Rumble is where it's at, folks. They have a new thing. You have a new what is it like? It's not terms of service, or I guess it's terms of services. It's new laws as to how Rumble is going to conduct itself, all written by Viva and Barnes. And they are taking up sort of like questionnaires and things from Barnes's locals and other different places. And Rumble itself, I believe, you go to Rumble, the website, I think you can add your own critique to it. And they're actually listening to people, and they're actually like possibly going to add or subtract to whatever they have written to make it better if someone comes up with something better. So throw ideas out there as well.
Real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna throw something out there real quick. If you want to see that video, go and subscribe to Lady Dingo. He's most likely on her channel.
She says, "I sent it to the frog."
The video that she
sent the video to the frog.
She did put it in my general on Discord. If you're not in my Discord and you'd like a link, here you go. I'll do that, and you can just come and you can join us for regular conversation. Yes, you do get to talk to people like AmericaShirts and Jimmy YouTube, as well as me.
Yeah, because I think everybody here's subbed, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of them are. If they're not, whatever. Hit that Discord link. Come join us.
How dare you?
And you can actually see.
Not subscribe.
Yeah, right. And if you had been subscribed, we had been giving out Discord links to anybody that did. And I know that I've missed quite a few in the last few days. So catch that.
If I find out anyone is not subscribed, I'm going to be so triggered right now.
Are you subscribed?
I mean, I'm not talking about me. We're talking about everybody else. Everybody else needs to subscribe. I'm going to be very triggered. Anyway.
All right.
With that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, enough talk.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.